Hey! Alright, this is going to be for the Investigating Culture paper. Whereas the food paper was very specific and had 3 separate parts, this Investigating Culture paper is a little more broad and a little more of a classical research paper. However, with all the assignments that I give, I want you to be able to tailor the assignment to how you feel, what you like, what you're interested in. So, first of all, this is not only a research paper, but an interview project. Okay, so you have to find somebody to interview about the topic that you choose. What kind of topics are you supposed to choose? I'd really like you to step outside of your comfort zone or outside of your knowledge zone and interview someone from a different race or ethnicity, a different social class, a different subculture, something that you're not so familiar with. Maybe you want to write about the war on drugs, so you're going to go around and interview people at MMJ dispensaries. Maybe you want to write about the culture of gaming or cell phone addiction. Okay, that might be something that you know about, you own a cell phone, but that you don't know about because you haven't really looked into it in depth. Okay, so I want you to investigate some piece of culture. Subcultures are usually very interesting, whether they're Star Wars geeks or rock climbers, musicians, you name it. The thing is that you have to pick someone or a topic that you know you'll be able to find someone to interview. Okay, so if you're doing a paper on illegal immigration and you happen to know some people who are working here legally and working here illegally and you want to get multiple perspectives, you could do that. But we can never tackle with this paper in 10 pages a giant topic like the war on drugs. It might be, how has the war on drugs affected this person living in your town over the course of this part of their life? You see, we take a funnel and we take these big broad topics that we like, affirmative action, and then we get it down closer to policies in college, then we get it down closer to people who it has or has not impacted, and in what way. So you have to have an interview component, and that's a big part of this. You have to talk to somebody, and part of making your paper successful in this regard will be having direct quotes. I don't want to hear that she said or he said this or that. I'd like a direct quote of exactly what they said. Have that bring this paper to life, because you get to pick something that interests you. Who wants to write a 10-page research paper on a topic that they're not interested in or don't feel passionate about? All right? So pick a topic you're interested in, find someone to interview, and make sure after you do a couple interviews that you get the information that you want, that things are going well. You may have to interview more than one person. I oftentimes recommend that you interview several people because who knows, maybe one interview turns out really great, another interview you don't get anything for. The other part of this is the research part, okay? Again, all the details are online, but I want you to have many sources, and if the assignment calls for you to have 7 outside sources, have 10, have 12. Alright? As long as you're including those citations in your paper, which you have to do in MLA or some other format, then it doesn't matter. My master's thesis and papers after that have had so many citations that when you're writing it, you almost feel like someone else is writing it. But if it's a research piece and you're giving them credit for it, that's okay. And you really do need to bring into this assignment a big research component to it. Part of it is interview, what that person thought, how they feel. Part of it are your opinions and your observations, and part of it is the research. I think another thing that makes this paper very strong is talk about the process. Now, you know, trying to set up the interview 3 or 4 times, I could never get a hold of this person. When I finally did, they had wonderful things to say and I was totally surprised. When we start to write a paper on a topic we're interested about, even if we're trying to take a value-neutral sociological approach, oftentimes we'll find ourselves thinking, oh, well, I know exactly the answer. Okay, I know the answer to the questions that I'm going to have these people answer. But that's not really how it works. So try and be as neutral as possible and go into it not thinking that you know the whole story, because that way you actually might develop a better, more interesting, and a topic that really does reflect someone else's experience rather than your own. So through this process, we're investigating culture, we're interviewing someone else or multiple people, and we're doing a good part of research, as well as including our own opinions in this. So do well, breathe, relax, and if you have any questions, contact me.